All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Demon Slayer.
The Infinity Train movie.
That's right. Yeah, this is the direct continuation of Demon Slayer Season 1. This is something that we've been really excited to get into because not only did this movie break tons of records in the box office and stuff, it's also a ufotable modern movie, which means they're going to be going absolutely ridiculously ham on the visuals.
Yeah, like...
And, yeah, and then it's also Demon Slayer, which already went pretty ham on its visuals as well.
Exactly.
So,
just
double dip much?
And giving it a movie budget.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
No big deal.
Yeah. And apparently it's going to deal with the Rengoku dude, the
Hashira,
flame Hashira,
which is kind of perfect because what was going on back in the show, and we had to kind of give a little bit of a refresher there, is that Tanjiro had been going through his total breathing concentration training with, Inosuke and Zenitsu, the boys. Yeah. But he had just gone through a bit of a bit with Rui and the fire breathing technique that he got from his father, the dance of sorts that he had.
Yes. Because the fire
to him in that fight. So.
Right, and the fire and flame distinction is important.
But it's potentially something where Rengoku could maybe give him some guidance, some training.
Maybe it's adjacent somehow. But if we get anything close to the animation that we got in episode 19, which I'm sure we're going to get far above and beyond, then I am very much down for this.
But this is the Infinity Train arc.
Right.
And this is also a movie, which means it's going to be its own kind of like next stage of the story of the whole thing. So how it ends and where it is basically going to be like some kind of perfect interlude in between seasons 1 and 2. I guess. Season 2 is coming.
Season 2 is coming. There's no way they're going to stop this cash cow.
Oh, I mean, no, definitely not. But the fact that we get a movie and a season 2 continuation so quickly seems like kind of a surprise. It kind of reminds me of what's going on with Made in Abyss, actually.
Oh, okay.
That got a movie. And that was like good, they were getting something. Right. There were so many recap movies and stuff. But, okay. Maybe another thing that's kind of important to point out here is that in that last episode as well, Muzan souped up one of Muzan's lower 5.
Right.
Who he went and just killed all the other ones, and then the last one was one that was
just like laughing and like
just like me. Well,
I'd like nothing better.
I'd love to be killed by you.
And then he's like, okay, and I have a mission for you.
Yeah,
kill the one with the Hanafuda earrings.
Yes, kill our goodest boy.
Yep,
one of the goodest boys, and you can have my blood. So this moon is hopped up on the old god juice and going to be a very big problem.
Just a bit.
But I am personally a big fan of little arcs of story that are on trains, Jacob.
Oh, really? Are you
specifically in anime?
So and set in sort of a pseudo early 1900s time period?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah? You vibe with me? So in this one, what kind of limitations will the train give them that they'll also be like, nah, we don't need to worry about limitations. It's still a train. We can do a lot on a train.
I mean, because with the train, it's you kind of have the
you
one...
You can go forward or you can go backward.
Like
that's it.
And suddenly there's a monster on this early 1900s train arc of story that is... Well, okay, immortals are involved, kind of, in the demons, it breaks down after a while.
We don't need to specifically say what we're referring to.
Yeah.
But I'm excited because Rengoku appears to be, like, very prominently, like, displayed in a lot of the promotional stuff for this. And he had probably one of the stiffest kind of personalities.
I mean, he was pretty boisterous,
Yes, and stiff as hell. If he wasn't the flame Hashira, I'd call him the board Hashira because he's literally like stiff as a board in terms of
I mean, when you have eyebrows like that,
when your eyebrows do be on flame like that.
Yeah.
I'll stop.
Thank you. Yeah. But what I'm looking forward to in this movie is two things really. Well, aside from the animation and the presentation and all that stuff, which would be fantastic, but I want some good Nezuko stuff because
she's here.
She's here, and when it comes right down to it, Tanjiro and Nezuko, their story together is the heart of this show.
True.
So if we get more of that, that would be awesome, because I can imagine that, you know, having Nezuko just be in a crate or something doesn't necessarily work very well when you're on a train with, I'm assuming, a crazy monster on board.
I swear, if he puts her in like a storage compartment, he's like, don't worry, I'll be right here before you. Because there's going to be people on this train.
Yeah.
Wait.
For the beginning.
Well, yeah. If we can make any predictions about this, is that the regular people will be on the train for a portion of time, and it will be primarily localized in the beginning of the movie before they all die horribly.
They might be okay, but if so, then it's very much going to be get to the front or the back of the train, and we'll try and make sure that the thing doesn't get to you. But the other thing that I'm very, very excited about is to see our boy Inosuke. And to see how he does in a confined space.
Put those swords away, put those swords away.
Because, yeah, let's just say...
Barf, Jiro!
I am a big fan of our boar boy.
You will not confine me! Since the dubs come out for Demon Slayer, I've gone back to like random episodes just to listen to Inosuke in the dub. And he's
Does he deliver?
No. It's not the same.
It's not the same.
It's not the same. No. The sub it's something else, y'all. Yeah. But anyway, y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. All right, everyone, now be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, then come back here for the discussion.
Well,
that was a good old just
good stuff.
What a movie. That was fantastic. We got a really tight narrative on two angles of not just the Tanjiro family, you know, a reality that you want to, you know, stay lost within. Oh God,
that was so good.
Something that will make you turn away from all of this, this waking nightmare. But the indomitable aspect of the human spirit. And like a train, it just keeps on going. It keeps on trucking along. Yeah. So the idea of a pocket infinity, if you will, a pocket little reality, a demi-plane that you could make something out of. And in some ways, the only reason why these dreams could come about is because of the limitless aspects of probably the human spirit.
Sure.
I wonder if on some level this ability might not have worked on demons. And something that's pointless theory crafting, but it's just something as a question to think about. But the idea of Tanjiro's indomitable spirit being this thing that wasn't full of raging fires or
it was calm
strong
waters.
Power. It was just a boundless ocean that was warm and still.
Distant bright horizons,
Yeah, and the young boy that was able to, in some way, snap out of the fear of this demon and be like, no, there was something really, really beautiful about that. And in some ways, he then already experienced enough of a good dream that maybe he didn't need to doing that. Because there was this clever thing they were doing with the way that dreams interacted with time. Like once they entered into the dream, they would immediately go in and chop their heads off so that they could pop out of the dream. And that was all happening in microseconds. So, who knows how long he was in there, too. But then, of course, Rengoku being that kind of stoic aspects of the human spirit that's indomitable.
Right. It's
not infinite necessarily, but the resolute aspect of it.
Yeah. So the whole thing of the human spirit being indomitable, it makes for a great like motif for like action stories, because then because then it's when the conflict is being driven to the most dramatic, most climactic, right? And then,
it's the boxing movie where they keep
exactly
down
right. You know, get back up.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, the reason why that works beyond just the aesthetic style of it is because that concept is rather mythic, right? It's what the human race is all about, right? Even if you were to remove the demons from this story, whether you're talking about just humans surviving, you know, and you know, the world that we enjoy now, right, where we are the at the top of the food chain and things like that, that's because of the, you know, the people that came before that
exactly
clawed their way, you know, to the top of things.
They might
right?
have died, and we will die, but the human race
Lives
will
on.
continue on.
Right,
Yeah.
and that's the ultimate goal, right? To basically cultivate and then pass on to the next generation, right? And you see this in all kinds of stories, right? With different twists on it and spins on it, and ways to work it into fantastical mechanics and elements of the story and things like that, right? But that's why this works so well, right? Because if you were to tell me that it's like, hey, we're going to have this character that was introduced towards the end of a show, and then
very recently,
and
we had like little to no characterization on Rengoku.
We had a character shtick in that they are I am fire, you know, right? Or
positive,
flame, you know.
I do not blink.
Right, exactly.
Like we had way more characterization to Gyush, Shinobu,
even Sanemi,
yeah,
right? Because, but if you were to tell me that, and then after that we're going to have a movie where this character tragically dies, I would be like, well, you better do a lot of stuff to make me care about this character in the movie, to build them up and build up that emotional connection. And while I liked what we got, right, if anything, there wasn't that much of a direct emotional connection that was made between him and Tanjiro or the rest of them, because they didn't get to see his dream.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
So what I love about this, like if I were to be told about this, right, I might think that like, ooh, that actually sounds like a potential weakness, right?
It's a bit flimsy.
Yeah, it could be a bit flimsy. But because Tanjiro is very much a bleeding heart in the story, right?
Yep.
And two, because this is something about humanity as a whole, it doesn't necessarily matter that Tanjiro and Inosuke and Zenitsu necessarily get to know this side of Rengoku, because it's just something where this is the old passing things on to the young, right? It transcends the idea of individuals and stuff like that. Right. It gets down to humanity as a species.
Yeah, which is not Rengoku's like thing that he's passing on.
This is humanity's story,
is humanity's
right?
fire, yes.
Right, and Rengoku.
He's literally saying, "Will you link the first flame with me?"
Right, exactly.
And I made that joke earlier.
Yeah. Kill the first flame, right?
Rengoku is telling him to get good, and then he's like, "And now, would you like to hear the story, the first flame?" Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, but that's
another
example, a whole game series that just spawns out of this
mythic idea,
about humanity, right?
Yeah, passing on the fire. Yeah.
Right, and the fact that then the way that he is defeated is because of his humanity, because he is mortal, but at the same time, the way that he wins is because of his humanity, right? The willing to lay things down. That's something that the demon would not have been willing to do, because he doesn't truly believe in what he's doing. He's doing it because he kind of wants to, and why not? You know.
Well, he did have a mission.
He was given a mission for sure.
There was, and they each were basically tag teaming setting this up. You know.
Yep. Right. But it's something where that's the true reason behind why the thing of will you become a demon is important, right?
Right.
Because I loved Rengoku's speech of the no. It is the fact that we die that makes us beautiful, right? Like that. That's such good
classic
stuff. It's classic, right?
Yeah.
You know, and that kind of a thing always can be told in stories. I feel like it can always be an incredibly wonderful thing to add in there, because that's something that we can apply to our own lives, right? Even if there are points where we struggle, where, like, say, Inosuke and Tanjiro and Zenitsu and everybody, we think, oh, are we truly strong enough? Are we up to the task? Are we getting beaten by the obstacles that we are faced with in life, right? And maybe we sob. Maybe we get angry. Maybe we cover our tears with a boar mask. Maybe we say, let's go train, right? But life goes on. Right? And in the same way that they pick themselves back up in this movie after the defeat, right? After the paragon that was with them is struck down. Right. They remember the things that, you know, Rengoku taught them while in life and in his death. And they're going to use that in the future. This could have been, if this had been just a movie that was like super flashy visuals and great music and action and all of that stuff, and some, you know, really fun comedy, I would have been like, definitely worth the price of admission. Still love it, you know, like that's great.
Because it is that for the most part. It definitely has a lot of heart to it. And
and yet there's this extra.
There's this mythic aspect that we're getting at here, which is that Rengoku as a character would not fit if he was primarily a comedic character. We need to care about him emotionally on some level that goes beyond he's fun to have around, which they did that in the beginning, which was nice.
Yeah.
That broke the tension surrounding how seriously we were going to take some of his more idiosyncratic aspects of him. Second thing that they did was they showed that he cares a lot about Tanjiro by the way that he speaks to him. He's not condescending or, an asshole in some ways. He's a likable boy for the most part. And then we quickly show his competence to show that we are excited about all the fights that he's going to be in. But the actual aspects of his character are relegated to the stuff that happens in the dream space.
Yep.
Now, that's nice because then we can cut through a lot of the chaff to get immediately to the heart, if you will, of the matter, the spirit of it.
Yeah.
And in that, we in some ways lose a lot of the personal connection opportunities with Tanjiro.
Sure, because they don't know about that kind of stuff.
They don't know this. So it is primarily for us, the audience. It is a vehicle upon which we can get our...
our emotional punishment.
Right, we can get the full emotional train kind of, rode down our tracks rather quickly. And then, rather, I would say, optimally after this, they kind of push him off to the side.
Yes.
To show that the conflict here is primarily one of something that connects Tanjiro and Rengoku, but it is not the stuff that is specifically in his personal backstory.
Right.
It is something that is being represented by why the backstory is being brought up. Like, well, he seeks approval from his father.
Yep.
He seeks to basically find meaning and purpose in all of this. And we find that eventually there's the flashback with his mom, and his mom is like, hey, you were gifted with something, so you need to use this to protect.
Right.
And it's very simple. It's very much exactly what Tanjiro's, abilities and stuff were used for.
Yep.
But when it comes down to it, the actual kind of function and purpose he served here was to really light the fire of humanity again.
Yep.
In one who had nearly had it beaten out of him again. Just through this whole ordeal.
Well, and even with the taking the protecting and putting that aside for a second, right? Because that's, of course, right. He's a Hashira. He's a very gifted individual in this dangerous world, right? And he uses it to protect people. Awesome.
Yeah. No one died except him.
But I love the fact that the thing that got to him most was the fact that his dad was at one point full of life. And then all of a sudden, not
his
anymore.
Spirit died.
His spirit died, right? He was still alive, but was he really?
Right.
And that's something where we suddenly get this additional insight into why Rengoku is so over the top the way he is.
Yes.
And let's be real, a lot of the times his energy, his vibe doesn't really work. It feels off. It feels forced, right? It's, the way his eyes are just constantly staring forward, right? Like, this is something I am putting on.
And now we know why.
Yeah. Right? Because it's even if I'm doing it badly,
I will still put it on for the sake of burning.
Yep.
I would rather burn badly than not burn at all.
Yep. And I love that.
I'd rather burn awkwardly or chaotically or violently or a little bit inhumanly, a little bit demonically, if you will, than not at all.
Right. It's the people will, come from all over just to watch someone burn, right? And in this situation, that's really what made them care about him so much. Because Tanjiro, yes, he's a bleeding heart, right? So I get the feeling that even if he hadn't, found some kindred spirit with Rengoku or anything like that, he still would have cried for him. He cries for demons when they die, right? Like, but the fact that we also had Inosuke crying. Zenitsu, he cries constantly.
He wasn't there.
Yeah, right. He wasn't there. Yeah. But then the fact that we have Inosuke crying.
Zenitsu was there
at the end.
At the very end.
Right.
But he wasn't there for the majority of the stuff that...
Like, happened. That, I don't know. Like, I feel like this movie did a really good job of giving Tanjiro a bunch of focus with, like, all the dream stuff and, giving context to his family and everything. Like, that's great. That's good emotional core stuff, right? And then, of course, Rengoku, because he's the one that dies, right? You know, in the times where he does have the focus, even though he doesn't steal the spotlight, which was nice, he's, you know, when he sees his mother, right, as he's dying, Tanjiro doesn't know that that's happening. Inosuke doesn't know. None of them know, right? They don't even know that he had some, you know, crazy backstory with his mom and his dad and all that stuff, right? Mm-hmm. But he sees her as he goes. And then also Inosuke, from the train is actually a demon to oh
I
shit.
can't get hypnotized if you can't see where my eyes are.
Right. Like I love it because I feel like it hits the elements of not forgetting the main character, you know, comedy, but like seriousness amidst the comedy, and you know, and then also the mentor figure that progresses, you know, Tanjiro into here's where you can find more about fire breathing and stuff like that, and then also Inosuke, just yeah, I love it.
It was really sweet, and overall, the movie surprised us by amping up the action side of things way beyond, I think, where we thought it was going to go.
Right.
Because once we had gotten like, oh, okay, we're in a psychological dream space kind of thing. So we're not literally limited by the physicality of the train. That's a brilliant idea to kill the fear that people could have about, oh, it's just 8 cars and an engine.
Right. How do you have an arc in there?
How do you have an arc in there?
If you have someone who has...
Well, this is how you do it.
Right.
You go inside.
How do you have crazy fights on a train when there's someone super powerful on there and another person super powerful without destroying the train and killing all the people on board?
like, well, you destroy the train.
Right.
And you knock it off the rails.
And then, you know...
And then you have a fight also outside of the train.
Exactly. Where then they can cut loose and we see all the crazy stuff happening.
Right. And that was the part where... Once they got off the train and we saw Akaza, I believe his name was, show up, I realized, oh, we had not actually been seeing the goated, ufotable action yet. We had been seeing some good stuff.
They had been saving the best for last.
They were saving the best for last in that fight gave us stuff that rivals some of the best we've seen in any of the Demon Slayer stuff, but easily better than anything we'd seen thus far in that.
I feel like episode 19, the animation that we got in that, gets up to that level where it can be sort of compared in the same breath as some of the scenes in that we got in this movie.
Sure. I think that's also primarily the emotion of episode 19 is a little bit stronger than the movie's emotion.
Sure.
As a lot of things go.
Right. We don't know who this guy is really that's coming to face him, you know, but looks dope as hell. And the music, can I just say,
the music
holy shit,
was insane.
Like it almost gave me like Nier Automata vibes, like you know, at some points, you know, with the singing and stuff, and like the way that it was synced up with like different parts in the movie, even with like when he announces himself. Rengoku announces himself, and then all the music stops.
The ambient
when he gets to his name,
it switches to his theme.
Yeah, it's like okay,
that's
all right,
powerful.
All right,
and then the bit where he just lights the flame within himself and it goes through his body.
Yeah.
And he's talking to, I think, his own body in a way to like not give up. Like let me go back to the part actually when it happens, because that was probably the most badass thing we got in terms of like.
Is it when he brings his sword up to like to try and cut his head off after he's been impaled?
Just let me find it here, because it's for a brief moment. I mean, the briefest moment. Here it is. So it's once the guy Akaza starts freaking out about his new stance that he has, and then he puts the sword behind his head,
right?
And he's just like, okay, I'm gonna do as much damage as quickly as possible. Yeah, flame breathing, esoteric art, right. And then just poof, just immolation explosion. And then we see kind of in some ways the same kind of wavy energy effect that went off of Tanjiro, I think, in episode 19, except now it's, you know, this orange flame color. Mm-hmm. And then the wave lines on Akaza. Yeah, he's just like... And he first goes from like kind of shock, terror to excitement, you know, as he's
you have to become a demon.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that ironclad stance. Yeah, I love that. And then this is it. Where he
right,
lights,
the clash.
Well, he lights the flame inside his body here, but just the way it moves through him here. Yeah, let's fight each other for all eternity. Yeah. Set your heart ablaze.
Yeah.
And then it starts from the heart, goes out.
So
it's like
limits.
his spiritual core, if you will, like was in all the things that they were trying to tear out with the other demon.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I love that the final, like the 9th form is just Rengoku. It's all right.
Yeah. We get it.
All right, hell yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's just...
I gotta say, imagine growing up having your name be Hellfire. Hi, I'm Hellfire.
I mean, in some ways, it's kind of like saying, like what would be equivalent kind of thing in more kind of not like literal naming in that regard, but more
I don't know, like
you know, where it's like my name is Hades, you know.
Sure.
It's like
right.
Oh shit, that's metal as fuck, you know?
Like,
like you're basically like you know you just called yourself the Greek devil, basically, right? It's like, yeah, I know.
Naming conventions in America,
it's like naming your dog Cerberus.
That's all I'll say. Yeah.
It's like naming your dog Cerberus.
Well, I mean, not necessarily, because Cerberus is just Spot. You know that, like, did you hear that thing? Yeah, but anyway, this movie was absolutely fantastic. It was a spectacle on a whole other level, and
I love the twist, just the twist of the dream, the twist of the we're getting into that, and that's basically the first and second act. That's not even really the full conflict.
And any time that I see in stories inner worlds of characters and it's used for comedy, I adore it.
Yeah.
The fact that we had Zenitsu being like, yes, I'm on a date with Nezuko, you know, and all that stuff, and it's perfect, right?
What are you doing here?
And he just does his thunder stance like instantly, like while being fully awake and everything, no problem.
The river on that
yeah, exactly. Your toes won't even get wet.
Yeah, even in his
dream, she's like, okay. But then,
Inosuke.
The fact that his dream is just, all right, minions. Let's go.
Minion 1, Minion 2.
Let's fight this train monster.
With centipede legs and everything like that. Oh my god.
It was just beautiful.
That was, the best twist. See, I was talking about the literal twist, and you're like, no. The best twists were the inner worlds of those two.
Yes.
And I wish Nezuko had more to do this movie.
Don't you mean something? No.
No. She woke up Tanjiro.
That was awesome.
She used her flames to get everyone else to wake up as well. And also, she was literally the one that did not get like the ability. Like this is the reason why I had my theory in the beginning. Remember I said this is a theory, I'll just kind of let it go out there. But remember I said the ability that the dream demon had might not work on other demons. It might have been that he's like, oh no, I know he carries Nezuko. Like we have detailed info on this.
Sure.
And maybe Nezuko had a ticket, but it just didn't work.
Or it's they brought her on as luggage. Damn it.
I mean, that's very possible as well. I don't want to go into the mechanics of the blood art that's connected to the stamp of the ticket that breaks the blood.
Yeah,
whatever.
That did feel a bit arbitrary.
Yeah,
but...
it's arbitrary. It's there for the rule of cool. But the point is that Nezuko was unaffected by it.
Yep.
And maybe that has to do with the dream needing to be something that interacts with the human spirit to create the inner world.
Or maybe...
And because Nezuko is no longer human, quote unquote, she might not have access anymore to that limitless human spirit.
Right.
So she has to lean on her brothers.
Sure.
Whose is more than capable of supporting her in that regard. So I don't know. It might be completely irrelevant, but it's just a theory I had because she was also the one that didn't fall asleep.
Right, and it was really cool to see her helping him, and the the puzzling, kind of trying to figure it out and everything. Yeah, that was great. And in Zenitsu's dream, we got to actually hear Nezuko talking, which was nice.
That was really sweet.
And the fact
heard her again in Tanjiro's dream,
that was brutal because the whole thing. I mean, there were a lot of different elements of the dreams that were brutal. When the kids were all like, "Why weren't you here? Why didn't you save us? Why are you still alive? Why are we all dead?" And he's like, no. He steals himself. He's like, "I'm gonna go," and then he sees Nezuko, and it's like, "Oh right, you're human here."
He doesn't even look back.
Yeah. No, I know.
I'm pretty sure he never looks back at her.
Nope. Well, he doesn't. He definitely doesn't look back at the rest of his siblings when he runs away the first time.
Together.
And then she wasn't over there, so then he runs into her, and it's just everything that I'm working for right now, because they are all that they have left, right? Like, granted, now they've made friends and stuff. They have Inosuke and Zenitsu and all that, but that was kind of the only thing keeping Tanjiro going. I need to rescue my sister, right?
No,
I need to make her whole again.
He never looks back, even when it's just Nezuko, and when Nezuko gets joined up by the family, he never looks back the whole time.
Yep.
And then the little kid chases after him. He starts crying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brother.
That's a cool little detail, because Tanjiro has a bit of the "I'm a good boy" main character, and nothing phases me kind of energy.
And the head that is literally so sturdy and thick and all that stuff that, like, it's actually a mechanic in the plot.
Yeah, he reminds me a little bit of Gon Freaks from Hunter x Hunter in that respect.
Yeah.
But the difference is
less
that
scary.
There's, Gon is quite innocent and wholesome in a lot of the earlier stuff. But the stuff that I'm bringing up more so is that here, this was something where he probably thought that if he looked back, he might not be able to resist it then. Because when Nezuko wasn't there looking at the family stuff, they're like, "Oh, yeah, she's just, grabbing vegetables up on the mountain."
Yep.
But it was like it's broad daylight. Like he was still connected to the old world in some way.
Because, well, you don't just forget about that. Like, as much as Nezuko can be memed on of like, yes, get the muzzle back on her and, stay in your box, right? Think about this for a second. You have to carry your sister around in a box or she'll die.
Yeah.
You have to keep a muzzle on her or other people might die. Even when she is doing very well, someone comes across her that's a Hashira, and they're like, "You know what? I just don't really like this. Even though you were specifically, brought here and all that stuff and whatnot, I'm just
we're still salty about you, Sanemi."
Like, oh no, definitely, maybe a little more than salty for me. But that's the kind of stuff that Tanjiro has had to deal with, right, and that hasn't had any sign really of stopping. And I think that's where him realizing how weak he is, that's where the real emotional core of it comes from, right? Because it's I literally have to kill strong demons and bring their blood back so that maybe we can figure out a cure, right? That as soon as I overcome one wall, a much bigger one just rears its ugly head.
It's perfect for shonen. But
perfect for shonen, right?
A great way to break your protagonist. And they literally re-zeroed him, like, in this episode.
And the fact that he almost
predicted it too.
Yeah, because the being able to put people in dreams, that's not what's crazy.
Right.
It's, I mean, if you can do that and then go into their soul or whatever and then turn them into a husk.
That's crazy, yeah.
That's also crazy. But it's that, what if they don't know if they're in a dream or not?
What if they get confused?
Yeah. And the fact that he was, because he has that kind of crazy determination, he's like, all right. And then Inosuke's like, hold up a minute, bro. Don't do that.
Because from Inosuke's perspective, because he never really went back to sleep after that time he got knocked out the first time, he sees Tanjiro just kind of doing this over and over again. But then one time he's doing this.
Right.
And he's like, whoa! That was good. But y'all, there we go. That's the movie.
Yep.
Really excited for how they continue this. Really, really cool stuff here. Very tight, small story. And well done for Ufotable for taking essentially it says it's an arc and condensing it down into, 2 hours. That's It's fantastic. So, y'all, thank you so much for watching this movie reaction and discussion. If you want to see other reactions, discussions, and stuff in general, check out our YouTube, subscribe, check all that other stuff out. If you want to gain access to our Patreon, any level support there will let you join our Discord, where you can chat with us and the community there about Demon Slayer, about anime in general. Be sure to check out the full-length timer reaction if you want to see the movie in an unsynced timer version. A synced up timer version in full, where you can then take your footage and sync it up to that. But yeah, also be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
Yes, we do streams every weekday. Info's in the description.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all
next time.